Hi, this is the Chemistry for Biology channel. I'm John Irwin. Our topic today is how to be a DxTRx curator. And the purpose of this is to explain to what we hope will be people who volunteer to help us with DxTRx how to get into the system and how to use it, and we hope it will be clear. Let me begin by just explaining a little bit about what DxTRx is. There's a separate video that explains what DxTRx is, but really we're linking purchasable compounds from zinc to targets, molecular targets, using data from Chemble, so about 250,000 data points linking targets to compounds. And about 11,000 diagnostic codes, diagnosis codes from the ICD-10, initially seeded by data from the TTD and Drug Bank and other sources, but heavily already curated by us. So this is really something we've put together. And the diagnoses are organized into disease area foci, so cardiovascular disease, tropical diseases, and so on. And since it's from diagnosis to prescriptions, drugs via targets, we call it DxTRx, and because it has T-Rex in it, we have a dinosaur as our logo. So let's get right started. So the first step would be to log in, because everything you're going to do with DxTRx requires authentication. Until the paper's published, at least. So you go to Zinc and you log in by clicking on Sign In up here in the corner, and then you're going to specify your credentials. If you don't have any, you can request a login over here. So I'm going to log in as a user called John1, who's just one of my identities, and so I can tell that I'm logged in as John1 up here because it says that I'm logged in. Hello, John1. So this is the main DxTRx focus area page. And so if you're a curator, the first thing to do is to identify your area of expertise within DxTRx. So if I click on cardiovascular and I go there, you can see that cardiovascular has information like atherosclerosis, hypertension, and so on, but there are currently no curators for cardiovascular. Are you an expert in cardiovascular? Can you spare 15 minutes a month to curate this page? If you're an expert or want to become one, we would greatly appreciate your help. Send us a quick message to volunteer, and if you click on that, it brings up a little volunteer to be a curator pop-up. Okay, so here, volunteer to be a curator of cardiovascular. Tell us why you're qualified. So I've written, I'm an expert in cardiovascular disease. Here's my CV. I'm happy to spend 15 minutes a month curating DxTRx. And then you just click on Send Request. And then when you get back to the page, it now shows that you, John1, and here's the university that you're affiliated with, and that that you're pending approval. Okay, so that's your status. Now you'll notice I was logged in as John1. Now I'm going to log in as John2, who's a super user. Okay, so here I'm logged in as John2. And now when I go to the cardiovascular page, I see that John1 is pending approval, and so now I can approve him or I can deny him. Okay, so if I click on approve, then he's approved. If I click on deny, it denies him. And at the same time, I received an email automatically from the server saying that the user John1 volunteered to help curate the focus area cardiovascular, and that he said that he was an expert, and here's his CV. Now I get to decide his or her fate. Approve the curator, deny this request, and of course you can also just ignore it. So if you're a curator, you can approve other curators for your indication. Okay. So, and then after I clicked on approve, I received an email message saying that that this user was approved for cardiovascular. So John2, by John2. So I was logged in as John2 and I approved. Should say John1 was approved anyway. We would normally send to John1. Okay, never mind. So I log back in as John1, and now I can see that John1 is a curator, and because it's me, I can either pause my curation or resign. So let's explain that for a minute. If I'm tired of doing it, or if I really made a mistake getting into this, we want to make it really easy to get out, so you can simply click on resign, and then you give up the responsibility, and you don't have to do it again. If you're just going away on vacation or going to a meeting and you don't want to be bothered with curation responsibilities, you can pause your curation. And so you will show up as inactive or dormant or something like that. And that means that no one expects you to curate it while you're at a meeting or while you're on holiday. Okay? And since I'm now logged in as a curator, and since I'm now a curator, I have a Curators tool. And so look, this is a break in the page, but at the bottom, the Curators tool allows me to modify the fact that atherosclerosis or primary hypertension or these things are in the cardiovascular focus area. Okay. So now we go into, so that's the whole procedure about volunteering and signing up and then being approved. And so when you now come into the disease focus page and you look at tropical diseases, you always see this volunteer for help throughout. So there's already 2 curators of tropical diseases, but you can always volunteer to help. And sometimes people are direct curators. So John too is a direct curator of tropical diseases. And L. Podust, is a curator via Chagas disease. So she volunteered for Chagas disease, but since she volunteered for Chagas disease, she also has access to tropical diseases. Okay, so now, one of the things we're asking you to do, if you're a DxTRx Curator, we're asking you to set a calendar alarm in your Google Calendar, and once a month, or something, whatever you use, and once a month we want you to review your pages. Now, at some point, there's going to be a dashboard that shows all your responsibilities. At the moment, you just need to remember what you're responsible for. And once a month, we want you to do things like check recent drug approvals, Google News, recent publications, the sorts of things that you're probably already checking if you're an expert in this area. And then we want you to add, modify, delete indications, status, targets, focus areas. We want you to really update the information to be current in your area of specialization. So we want you to fix any errors that you find. We would like you to add PMIDs whenever you've got a PMID that justifies an association between a target and an indication, or an indication being classified in a particular disease focus area. And I should mention that this Curators tool is only available if you're a curator. So non-curators just don't see this option. And you can delete or add new indications or new targets. And if you make a change in this page, then you can click here to make sure that your change gets updated when you click on Save. Okay, so there are always going to be tough curation problems. The target doesn't appear to exist. The indication does not appear to exist. Or there are multiple or confusing targets or indications. For instance, penicillin binding protein is really not a single target, but it's a whole family of targets from several diseases, from several organisms. Ribosome is not really a single target. It's a sort of a pseudo target that encompasses a large number of actual molecular targets. How do you handle these cases? Or DNA, so that you can think of lots of cases where it's not always obvious how it might be coded. And in those cases, what we want you to do is to simply send us a general comment. And so the universal solution to all difficult problems for curation is to use the suggestion form that every other user uses also, that the non-curators use. And then the super users or the system administrators will try to fix or add the appropriate target, or add the appropriate indication, or do whatever it takes to make it work. And we anticipate that because this is biology that we're trying to shoehorn into an automated, web-based system, we anticipate that there are always going to be these difficult problems. And so we just want to get started right from the beginning with a kind of an expert curation to back up the volunteer curators that are helping us, so you don't have to waste a lot of time messing with things that are not necessarily clear. Okay, and so whenever you make a suggestion, all the curators plus the system administrators get emails. Here it's someone, John Irwin, has made a suggestion that Chagas disease should be classified as with CYP51 should be experimental instead of clinical, and there's a justification here. And so this allows via email to confirm modify, or ignore suggestions made by other curators or by the general public. So, this has been a Chemistry for Biology presentation, How to be a DxTRx Curator. We hope that this information will be useful for those people who are considering being DxTRx curators, and that you will see that it's really not very hard to do, and that you will enjoy sharing your knowledge with the community. And we look forward to working with you. We understand that this is a system in progress, and so we're very grateful for everyone who wants to try and help us in this huge project. Thank you.